The wife of President Muhammad Buhari, Aisha, has disclosed the nature of the illness the president suffered for years. Aisha Buhari disclosed that Buhari suffered post-traumatic stress disorder (PTSD) for many years due to his involvement in Nigeria's civil war, his overthrow as military head of state, and subsequent detention for 40 months without being charged with any offense. She disclosed this while speaking at an event for the Armed Forces Post-Traumatic Stress Disorder Center initiated by the Mrs. Lucky, Irabo-led Defense and Police Officers' Wives Association. She recounted how she suffered the consequences of PSTD at an early stage in her marriage to Buhari. According to Aisha Buhari, it is a reality that soldiers and military families have to live with, despite its negative consequences. Being a soldier's wife or a retired soldier's wife and a wellness expert, I understand the challenges associated with PTSD and its impact on military families and the nation. My husband served the Nigerian army for 27 years before he was overthrown in a coup d'etat. He fought civil war for 30 months without rehabilitation. He ruled Nigeria for 20 months and was detained for 40 months without disclosing the nature of his offense. 1 year later, he came out from detention. We were married. I clocked 19 years in his house as his wife, legitimately. I suffered the consequences of PTSD because having gone through all this and at the age of 19 to handle somebody who was a former head of state and commander-in-chief of Nigeria's armed forces to tell him that he is wrong is the first mistake you will make. So at the age of 19, I had to figure out how to tell somebody of his caliber that he was wrong or right, and that was the beginning of my offense in his house. And contesting elections in 2003 and failed, 2007 failed, and 2011, the same thing, all without rehabilitation. I became a psychophysiotherapist. You can imagine me at 19 years handling somebody that went to war, suffered coup d'etat, that lost several elections, and finally getting to the villa in the 2015 elections. Also, for a woman to tell them that this is wrong or right in Nigeria and Africa is a problem.
PTSD is a mental health condition that is triggered by a terrifying event. It is a reality that many soldiers and military families have to live with, despite its negative consequences. Being a soldier's wife or retired soldier's wife and a wellness expert, I understand the challenges associated with PTSD and its impact on military families and the nation. My husband served Nigerian Army for 27 years before he was overthrown by a coup d'etat. He fought civil war for 30 months without rehabilitation. He ruled Nigeria for 20 months and he was detained for 40 months without the nature of his offense or without any nature of offense. 1 year after he came out from detention, we were married. I clocked 19 years as his wife in his house, legitimately. So I suffered the consequences of the PTSD, because having gone through all this at the age of 19 to handle somebody who is a former president of Nigeria and the commander-in-chief of the Nigerian Armed Forces, to tell the person that he is wrong, to tell him that he is wrong is the first mistake that you are doing. So at the age of 19, I had to figure out how to tell somebody of his caliber that he's wrong or he's right. And that was the beginning of my offense in his house. And contesting elections, 2003, he failed, 2007, the same thing, 2011, the same thing. all without rehabilitation. I became a psychotherapist. And finally, the whole nation raised against it, against the misuse of power and bad governance. He only succeeded when it became a movement. And here we are today. He ruled Nigeria before and is ruling Nigeria now. And this is the last and the final. Failing elections 3 times was a big blow to every contestant. And also, those that have contested just yesterday, a simple primary elections, they are still living in a traumatic, condition. I tried to console them, I tried to talk to them. Some of them switch off their phones up till today, just for a primary election. You can imagine myself handling somebody at the age of 19, handling somebody that went through a war, coup d'etat, and then elections upon elections, and then finally getting to the villa 2015. Also, to tell them that this is wrong, this is right in Nigeria or in Africa in general, for a woman to tell a man is a problem. In that case, I want to use this opportunity to appreciate members of the armed forces of their sacrifices and contributions to the national building. Many fallen heroes in the course of these sacrifices, and they remain evergreen in our minds.